CEO Roundtable Discussions. Recently, many of my viewers will know that I took a position as a president and CEO of a company called Alset Energy. Their symbol is ION on the Venture Exchange. And one of my friends that spends a lot of time on a website called CEO.ca, in fact, it's a well-known site for investors in the mining sector. And his name's Galvin, the real galvanizer there. And he made a comment that oh, I'm looking forward to future CEO roundtables, and so he gave me a great idea, and this is what I'll be doing with my shows now that I'm a CEO myself, president CEO type, is I'm going to invite companies that I'm following and their executives to come on. We'll do these CEO roundtables, and then once every couple months, I'm thinking of doing a CEO summit where we'll get a bunch of the CEO roundtable guests together for a conference online, and that makes it so that both the guests and the viewers can be sitting at their desks instead of going to one of these conferences where you got to schlub yourself down there and for the company spend a ton of money. So I'm really excited about the show, and my first guest is Ray Marks from Tudor Gold. Tudor Gold is one of the members of my website sponsorship program, and I'm really excited to have Ray on the show. Thank you for coming, Ray.
My pleasure.
And what we're going to do, Ray, is I'll just give you a quick rundown. We're going to do a quick, I'll do a quick overview of why I've recently taken on the CEO position of this company. And then we're going to get into a chat about what's going on with Tudor. And I also want to talk to you a little bit about maybe some big picture stuff that's going on in the industry. How does that sound, Ray?
I'm looking forward to it.
Awesome. Well, let me get my part started, and then we'll be ready to roll. So, first of all, I have to do my website sponsorship message. These shows are brought to you by my sponsors, and they include the company Alset Energy, ION on the Venture Exchange, where I'm the president and CEO of the company as of about a week now. And so you can check them out at alsetenergy.ca. That's ALSET energy.ca. My other sponsors include Nevada Exploration. They're NGE.V. They're a gold-focused company in Nevada. You can check them out at nevadaexploration.com. Premier Gold Mines is another sponsor. Their symbol's PG on the Toronto Exchange. Check them out at premiergoldmines.com. Sirius Resources, SOI on the Venture. Their website is sirios.com. Tarku Resources, TKU on the Venture. You can look them up at tarkuresources.com. Tudor Gold, my guest today, Ray Marks. He's the symbol's TUD on the Venture. West Red Lake Gold Mines is another sponsor. They trade on the the Canadian exchange under the symbol RLG. They're at westredlakegold.com, and Wolfden Resources, WLF on the Venture. They're at wolfdenresources.com. So now that I put that to bed, Ray, I wanted to tell you about why I took my new position at Alset Energy. I don't know if you follow any of the lithium companies.
I've been way in the mountains all summer, but we will be watching carefully.
Okay, well, why don't you? What I'll do is I'm going to give you the quick spiel here on what's been happening with lithium. There's been a recent action over the last year and a half or so, Ray, because of Tesla making noise about needing lithium for their batteries in their cars.
Okay.
And so, of course, this started a lot of junior exploration and movement into the space. And, of course, there was a lot of hype, and I really hadn't jumped into it in any way, shape, or form. And A couple months ago, this company, Alset Energy, run by a different chap at the time, he got a hold of me and he told me why this was different. He explained to me that, just like any project, it comes down to what are the numbers. Do you have do you have the infrastructure? Do you have water? Do you have all these key things? And at the end of the day, after all the hype is over, it's going to come down to whether or not you have something that can make money when you start producing it. And so that caught my attention because at that time, most of the people were talking about their stocks going up. So I decided to take them on as a web member of my website sponsorship program. Well, not long after that, Ray, the company had some troubles. They got word that they may have to spend up to $1.8 million a year in exploration costs to keep the projects in good standing, which for a little junior was a pretty big thing. And to make matters worse, the chap that got me convinced to bring the company on, he jumped ship when this news went out. So it took me a day or two to figure out the story, and what ended up happening is I found out that by changing the way that they had the concessions down in Mexico, the commitment would be about $300,000, and so much less of a problem, much easier to deal with, and so I got a hold of the company, and when I heard that side of the story, I said, well, not only will I not dump you as a sponsor, I want to throw my hat in the ring to join and lead you guys in a better direction because I still believe in the projects. So it took a few weeks, but we ended up coming to terms, and I became the new president and CEO. And what my goal right now, Ray, is to really get the company's sort of the narrative, the story of the company to look more into the future. And the things that I'm focused on is Tesla's talked about their need they want lithium from sources in North America. That's part an environmental and part of an economic situation, Ray. One is they want the greenest possible source that they can get. These salars are quite, they're lithium brines that you let the sun kind of bake away the liquid, and you're left with the lithium. And that's about the easiest way you can get lithium. But the nearest one is in Nevada, and that's constrained by water issues, and it's not very big production, so it certainly won't meet what Tesla needs. The next nearest source for a brine, it looks like, is this central Mexican plateau where Alset has acquired these projects. They were acquired by the Stairs family, and they're a very well-known prospecting group. They have won the PDAC Bill Dennis Award for their 40-year career in prospecting. So they're good at picking projects. And I think I've come in at a really exciting time, Ray. And so that's how this CEO roundtable thing all started.
Excellent. I'll have to read up on it.
Yeah, well, I'm working right now on a new PowerPoint presentation, so I'll be sure to get it off to you, Ray. It will be done here probably later today, and you can get all this down real quick.
Okay.
Awesome. So now let's turn to Tudor Gold. Ray, we had a conversation a couple days ago, and while we were having that conversation, it really made me want to have you on the show for my audience, because what you were talking about is part of the story that I don't think a lot of investors usually get and appreciate when it comes to these junior exploration efforts. And what really caught my attention was when you were talking about flying into the camp this year, and there was like 4 people, and and basically nothing. And within a very short period of time, you had everything built up and ready to rock and roll. Why don't you start there, Ray, and we'll go from there.
Okay, well, let's talk about Stewart and the Golden Triangle, which is probably one of the most uh, famous gold areas in the world. But it's not only famous and rich, but it's very costly to do exploration work in there because of the terrain. So we had a look at this situation for the better part of a year before we decided to jump into it, and the market was good. So we bought up some properties that were under litigation, and we had to settle a litigation with them, and it really was very time consuming. But at the end of the day, we completed it. But it really cut our time to be working in the triangle tight. So we bought the Treaty Creek property. We are now the largest shareholder in that. We own 60% of the Treaty Creek property.
Hey, Ray, let
Yes.
me interrupt you for a second there. I think I jumped ahead a little bit. You're now saying we. Why don't you tell us a little bit about who the we are, and then we'll get back to the how the story transpired this early in the season. So tell us a little
Okay.
bit about Tudor Gold and the team, and what a little bit about that first, Ray.
Well, our team is basically out of Europe, out of Germany. The head person in this company is Walter Storm, which financed Osisko Gold in Quebec, one of the more successful gold mines in Canada.
And by the way,
Very,
Ray, a lot
yes.
of my audience knows about Osisko because I started following them very early. I think they were around $1 when I first started following them. So it's been one that I followed for a long time and mentioned a lot. So thanks for bringing that up.
Yeah, so Walter, the president of Tudor Gold, decided to go out of retirement and to maybe put together another good mining project. And he had a close look at the triangle and realized that this was definitely the spot that everybody should be looking at if you're serious about doing something successful. So we went ahead and acquired several properties. If you look at our website, you can see the properties that we acquired. And but two of the main properties that we like, that we're really focusing on for this year and maybe most of next year, is the Treaty Creek property, which is very, very well situated by Seabridge and by Pretium, the Bruce Jack mine. It's within a 5-minute flight from our camp. You're right in the Bruce Jack, or you can go a little bit west and you're into the Seabridge camp. Interesting area. We're on the same fault, on the Khyber fault, Khyber fault, and so it's looking very, very good for us when we acquired the property.
No, I do
But
know, Ray, I had been myself a few years ago looking at those same projects that were under litigation. And the Treaty Creek and both Electrum really stood out to me. So when I started hearing about Tudor Gold, it was because you guys had acquired those two projects. And then another one that's really got my excitement is your High North project. Yeah, your High North project that is right along the same structure as the Valley of the Kings that's owned by Pretium. And Pretium is one of my top gold picks. I got it early in the year, so it's been a really good performer. And so I've been paying attention to what you've been doing there for a while. And so let's get back now that we kind of set the scene of, you guys, you and Walter Storm of Osisko fame there put this company together and got these projects. Let's get back to that early part of the year story, Ray. And flying in there with your small team and how you quickly got things rolling, even though you got a late start to the season.
Yeah, we flew in. You know, there was a dilapidated camp in there, but we needed to get a base camp before we could even start building a new camp. We flew in. I think it was in June 26th, and we flew at it. We spent about 4 or 5 days just getting the generators running, and there was an old cat and some stuff that we could work with, and then we got the thing operational so that we could feed a crew to build the camp with. Within 2.5 week period, we had over 20 men in there. Some were carpenters, and there was a helicopter stationed in there. We had the MT Survey people out of Toronto that had done a lot of work on the for Seabridge and for Pretium. It's kind of a sub-company of the people. And we felt that with this new technology that it would be advantageous for us to do this MT survey in there. It was very expensive for us to do it. It was a 28-day program. So we brought these people in, and we went ahead with this MT survey. We didn't know a whole lot about it. We read a little bit about it, you know, but until you actually are working with these people, you get a better grip on it. So we did a 28-day program in there, and we couldn't start drilling until this program was basically finished, because the noise from the drills and other situations can really create problems for this monitoring system that they have. So it was pedal to the metal all summer, getting this MT survey, and especially not truly understanding the complexity of it. But I'm very hot on this MT survey now, because it gave us many targets, anomalies. But these anomalies aren't always gold anomalies. They can be an iron anomaly. They can be a fault. It can be all sorts of things.
But they give you a clearer picture to sort of filter through, right, Ray?
That's correct. So they started producing some targets for us. So we felt that it would be best that we did some targets on what we call the Treaty Creek side first. They came up with some.
Hey, Ray, I got a quick question for you, because one of the things I'm always trying to educate my audience, even though they may not be geologists, is how to use Google Earth and take these stories that public companies are telling and sort of look at that geology on top of Google Earth. Did you see the benefits of doing that when you did this MT survey?
I'd have to talk to my geo further about it. We got so caught up into the MT survey, and they had done a air mag in there and several other types of work in there, that to put all this complex information together, it's going to take us till springtime to actually have the last of it. It's very complex.
Right.
So what we have to do now is, we can use Google Earth a little bit in this, but I'd rather have my geo talk to.
No, I mean, like, just looking at the anomalies on top of, then portraying them on top of the Google Earth image.
Yes, it will help immensely.
Yeah. Perfect.
It will work, but what happens is they gave us targets, and we went ahead and but you're not sure what these targets or these anomalies actually what they really are. So we drilled on the 3 holes on the Copper Bell side, and here's the big problem: getting assays back, because it's been a very, very busy year in exploration, and they were so backed up, ALS Labs and the other lab in Kamloops, that it was hard to get any kind of an assay back to actually find out what your core was actually producing. So we felt within ourselves, let's spread ourselves around on quite a few of these anomalies to to get a better picture, because if we just stay on one anomaly and one side, it could be the wrong thing to do. So a month and a half later, we started getting back in some of our assays, and lo and behold, hole number 3, we call it CB1603 on the copper bell side, came back very, very, very good, and it's leading up to some of a good an assay as Seabridge is getting.
And that was you've released that was recently released, right?
That's correct.
Right. Okay. Now, is there a association between where you're drilling and where Seabridge is drilling? And I got to leave my mic for just 1 second, but you go ahead and talk because everybody can hear you, Ray. Go ahead.
The information that we have about Seabridge's hole, it's up near the Iron Cap. We don't really know exactly where this hole was drilled, but it's fairly close to to us. But what that kind of, you can take all sorts of ideas from it, but it was probably one of their better holes that they've ever done, and it's right near the Iron Cap, which is not that far, maybe 1 kilometer, maybe 1.5 kilometers from where we are, and it's. When the geos get finished with this, with the MT survey, I think it'll be a defining moment. I think it's going to tell us a lot about how large this anomaly is and the structures. But that's going to take until probably mid-March before we have all of this stuff. We're looking at 2 or 3 companies that's going to do the analysis on it. But the key thing is the hole that we did do, the CB16, is comparable to American Creek's hole. It's a larger, and it has some areas in there with some really high grade in it, and you can see that on the website. It's very encouraging to us. But the hole that Seabridge drilled up there, I mean, yes, I think it's very important to exposing the whole thing, but it's going to take another year or 2 of us drilling on our property and up closer to the Iron Cap to define if that's connected to it. But I'd be out of place to say that it's absolutely connected to it. But of course we believe that, but time will tell.
Yeah, and the truth machine will tell the truth. And but the geological story is telling you something, and the geophysics is telling you something, and the truth machine is starting to line up that whole story for you, right, Ray?
Yeah, we're high on it. We're very excited. We've got some serious people looking at that with us. The pictures, it's improving. It's improving immensely. But like I say, the proof will be in the truth machine, and that's putting more holes in the ground to really define it. But the interesting part is that we don't have that big a deal to put a road into this property, a road that we can drive on. We won't have any glaciers to cross or anything. I believe it's going to be about a 22-kilometer road to put in there, so it'll be a much simpler area to access than what Seabridge has to do. So I think our future is very, very bright. I'm very excited about it, and I'd like to tell the whole world that we're the greatest and the best, but it just makes a whole lot of sense. We can come from Bell 2 on the highway there, put a road into here. Our costs will go down immensely for exploration work, and so over the next year and a half, we're going to get our team put together in Europe and in different areas of the world. I'm really not at liberty to speak too much about that, but it will make it so much easier where, Seabridge and Pretium are going to have a difficult time. Well, Pretium's got their road in, but boy, it was costly, and I think our location and the fact that we're on the Kaiba Fault, and it's looking positive. That's all I can say at
Great.
this moment.
Now,
There'll
Ray,
be more information coming out very, very soon.
that's what I was going to ask you. Is there more work that was done at Treaty Creek that still remains to be reported?
We're just putting that information back now. We still, like I say, the core. We have core in at the lab on some of our holes that we're waiting for completion on. We will be making some more announcements here probably within the next 3 weeks. I wish we could go faster, but things are so backed up.
You know what, Ray? On that speed thing, I often tell people that, and I think this is important for all public companies. I don't really want the companies that have a lot of that hot, fast money in it. I'm more interested in people that are interested in being shareholders, what I call cold money, where they're going out there and they're looking at this stuff rationally and they're looking at it strategically over time with a view for where they see gold, in your case, where they see gold going. And those are really the kind of investors that I think you've already attracted and will continue to attract, that will give you the time to do this properly because you are so well situated and such a strong team. So I'm never in a hurry in this business, Ray. I think the ones that are tend to get themselves into tough situations and always have that hot money chasing them. And really, when it comes to gold, Ray, I think we saw that easy hot money early in the year, and it's pretty much gone now. And now you got to roll up your sleeves and look for quality. And Treaty Creek is definitely one of them. But there's also another one that I wanted to get an update from my audience, which is your Electrum project. Now, this Electrum project has been around the Stewart area for quite some time, and it's well known that there's a portal there that had some very high grade historical gold material pulled from it, but unraveling the mystery has been a little bit more challenging. You guys had a run at it this summer, Ray, and why don't you tell us quickly about that and what's pending on that one?
Well, the Electrum property has been a mystery since the 30s. The portal, we were inside it. We had a really good look at it and at their waste pile. And I'm sure that most people realize what these people that put this old drift in there and mined in there, they had about a 70-kilometer walk through the bush to get to this property, and they went in the wintertime. There was a lake below it, and there was no roads in there, and the only way they could bring out the ore was with actually a dog team. They were actually bringing out the high-grade ore with a dog team.
Wow.
And so they couldn't afford to bring out any low-grade ore, so they took out just the high-grade. And when you go through their waste pile, you can see all sorts of really good mineralized material that they just didn't take out. Basically, the high grade was kicking. I've seen some of they refined it, the foundry, and they were averaging 1,000 ounces of gold and 1,000 ounces of silver in their high grade material that they brought out of it. They really, really had to know what they were doing. Very, very smart what they did. So it kind of gives you maybe an unrealistic viewpoint of what's in there, because the vein structures are very, very fine and very narrow and hard to hit with drills.
But you say that, Ray, because they were kind of high grading the material that they processed, because they were trying to just take as little material as they could down with the dogs, right?
That's correct.
Okay. So it's not that it's an unrealistic that there's high grade there. It's just that 1,000 ounces type grade is pretty off the charts, and that's why you were seeing that, correct?
That's correct.
Okay, okay.
It's an unrealistic in today's mining.
So you're
But
not shooting for 1,000 ounce gold, although it would be nice, Ray. We might not. You might under deliver on that target, eh?
no, I wish I could. Then I don't think I'd be saying anything to anybody. But I believe that we have unraveled the mystery. There's an old saying: if you keep repeating the same thing over and over again and expecting different results, it's a form of insanity. A lot of drilling's been done on that property, and we also did a lot of drilling this summer. The reason I did quite a bit of drilling is because I wanted to know exactly what was actually there, because I didn't have any core to actually look at. And so we did a fair amount of drilling, and it's not. I don't think the drill core is reliable to what is what's really there. So we did a bit of
now, Ray, explain. Why don't you just give a quick little education to my audience about how the difficulty of when you are drilling for bonanza grade type targets, the challenge of doing that with a drill rig.
Well, the vein it's pockety, and it's balloony, it's like a balloon. You can get this very, very thin straw going in vein structures. You can see that in the tunnel. There's very, very fine, narrow veins, and so if you're drilling through that, and we will elaborate on that more over the next week or two with some announcements. We realized that drilling wasn't going to give us what we really needed to know. If you look at other mines, old mines that were around there, and get a little bit of the history, they had the same problem with these very narrow vein structures. So to actually drill and figure that you're going to find something that's, you could, but it's very difficult. And if you look at all the drilling that has been done, yeah, they hit some high grade here and there, but it was pockety.
So that's really, in that kind of a situation, it's tough to get a representative idea of what you really have. But from what we talked about the other day, it looks like Electrum is giving you some, Mother Nature's helping you out a little bit with some surface exposure there, hey, Ray?
Yeah, we've if you look on our website, we did a trenching program, and I think that that will tell the story, and we will be elaborating more on it towards the end of next week, how we're going to possibly unravel the mystery of the Electrum property.
Well, you know what, Ray? I think that's a perfect spot to leave the Electrum discussion on, because I am so interested in that Electrum project, not just because you guys have it, but historically. I want to get you back on after you've had a chance to look at those results and give us a clearer picture of how you're going about unraveling the mystery of that Electrum project. Before I close though, Ray, I wanted to talk to you a little bit about how you've set yourself up for next year. A lot of the work, not just the drilling work, but the setting the camp up and everything, is setting you up to get rolling really quickly next year.
Oh, if we have a winter like last winter, I would say we can be in there 4 weeks earlier, and of course we don't need to do an MT survey anymore. We have a beautiful 25-man camp built in there, beautiful cook house, and water system. I mean, we're now organized, ready to rock. So when in the spring, we even have the drills there, so we can, in the springtime, we can hit it full force without all this.
That brings up an interesting point to me, Ray. You guys got a late start, and we're still able to accomplish a tremendous amount. Next year, right at day one of being able to turn things on, you guys are going to hit the ground running because the camp's there, you got the MT survey there. Now you'll have all your drill hole results, you have all your geology laid out. You guys are going to be able to even do more work next year than you did this year.
Yeah, at a lot less cost because the infrastructure's in place. And I was there for 4.5 months, and I think I had 1 day off. And it's a good way of losing weight. If you want to come up, we encourage you to.
Yeah, I'm afraid you might put me to work.
Oh boy, the Electrum property is one of the 7th wonders of the world.
Next summer I want to come up for sure, Ray. I do.
Oh, the mineralization in that country. I've been on a lot of properties in Central South America, Mexico, and Canada. I've never ever seen anything to top this. My geo says, Ray, and he's been all over Canada. He says, this is the most interesting property I've ever been on in my life. He's so high on it and so enthusiastic about it, Jim Hutter, that he says he's excited in every avenue. And I am too.
I've been the same way since the first time I saw that project, Ray. So I want to get up there and see it in person. And I'm so you hit the nail on the head there of what we should close on. I can tell your enthusiasm. You got a great team. You're going to be in there for the long haul. You guys aren't messing around, right, Ray?
We believe in, our money should go into the ground. We believe in our shareholders. We want to give them a good bang for their dollar. So our attitude is the money should go into the ground, and that's what we believe in.
Awesome, Ray. Well, I'm going to invite everybody. As you were talking today, I was looking at your website, actually the presentation on your website. You can find that at Tudor Gold. That's TUDOR-GOLD.com. I invite everybody to check out Tudor Gold. They're a very compelling story in a tremendously exciting region of British Columbia, the Golden Triangle, one of the best places in the world to look for high-grade gold and silver, and these guys have some great stuff. So do your homework on Tudor Gold. Ray, I'm going to close things off, but thank you very much for coming on. It's been great, Ray.
Thank you so much, Alan, and you have a great day.
Hey, before you leave, can I twist your arm to keep coming on my CEO roundtables and then the CEO summit a couple months down the road?
Absolutely.
Awesome,
no
Ray.
All,
awesome. Well,
okay.
Thank you very much again. I'm going to let you go, Ray, and I'm going to close things off for the show.
Thank you.
Have a good one. All right, folks, there again. Thanks a lot for joining me. This is the first time I've done the CEO roundtable, and I sure had a great guest in Ray Marks to sort of to get the launch of the show going. So this is sort of the new format of how I'm going to be doing my shows going forward. Now that I've become a CEO president myself, I'm going to get some executives of companies that I follow, that are sponsors, that are good companies, and people that can teach us as investors and management of companies, sort of the best practices and who the best people are. So I'm really excited about these shows, and I'm glad I was able to get Ray on. I'm going to close by saying thank you very much to all my sponsors. Check below the video. You'll see all their links and a little blurb about them. Check them out. They make my work possible. I want to thank my sponsor, Ray Marks, who's also his company, Tudor Gold, is a member of my website sponsorship program. And I want to thank you, the viewers. If you didn't show up, it wouldn't be worth me doing these shows. And I love doing these shows, so thank you very much. Have a great day. Thank you very much. Have a great day. Thank you very much. Have a great day. Thank you very much. Have a great day.